ẹ pè wá ká gbé yín lárugẹ. Event tó yàtọ̀.
Ó ti lọ yàtọ̀ jù. Event ó ti lọ yàtọ̀ jù. 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 Event ó ti lọ yàtọ̀ jù. Ó ti lọ yàtọ̀ jù.
Hello and welcome back. This is still Hidden Treasures, your #1 business program. My name is Shola Ladeneka. For those of you just tuning in, I've been speaking to Prince Dayo Fadina, who is an immigration juris consult, and we've been talking about immigration matters. We've gone extensively into so many immigration rules and the changes, and but for this last segment, what we're going to do, we're going to go straight and talk about students, because there are quite a lot of students in this country, people who have come to study, and there's been lots and lots of changes regarding students. If you just want to just point out, what are the options for students generally as of today?
As of today,
because we know it can change tomorrow.
Yeah, it could change tomorrow. But as of today, what the government has done over the last 1 year, particularly the Tory government, what they've done is they've restricted, what they're trying to do is restrict the number of students coming into the UK. And even the ones within the UK, they are trying to actually make it so difficult for them to a point whereby after studies they need to actually then go back home. I don't know how that can work, because you cannot force anybody to leave, especially if there are still rules and regulations which allow that person to be able to remain in the UK. But anyway, I think the strategy is to target students coming in. And the major changes to do with students is to do with the Tier 4. It's normally called Tier 4 applications. Tier 4 applications mainly to do with students. Initially, some years ago, about 3 years ago or so, it used to be called the FLR. That's for Leave to Remain students applications. That was abolished towards the end of 2007, early 2008, and the Tier 4 was introduced. That Tier 4 then gave students the opportunity to be able to apply for leave to remain in the UK based on being a student. You would have to actually show a sponsor, and that sponsor would have to actually have a license and a visa letter. That was how it started. It then moved. This government has now moved. In fact, I think the Labour government introduced this, but the Tory party, the Tory government has improved on this. It then moved on to a situation whereby you need to be licensed. You need to be on the list of education providers with the Home Office. Then afterwards, as of this minute we are speaking, you now need to have the sponsor, that's the university or the college or whatever. Now you need to show that you have a license and that you have a CAS number. A CAS is confirmation. Confirmation acceptance of the fact that you are that college or university can sponsor you. All right. That's where we are today to do with students, to do with sponsorship. They've also introduced a few regulations to do with maintenance. You need to show, depending on where you're studying in the UK, if you're outside the UK and you got current leave to remain as a student, you need to at least, if you then want to make an application for leave to remain as a student, you need to show the fact that you've got a college or university sponsoring you. And you also need to show evidence of the fact that you got £600 multiplied by 2 months. That's about 1,002. If you are if you are outside the London area, but if you are within the London area, you need to show 800 multiplied by 2. Right, which is
1,006.
1,006. If you are outside your limits, your time limits, to remain in the UK. Initially, you would be able to make an application for further leave to remain, so long as you got a CAS letter.
Okay.
Right. This was as of I think 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
But instead of your, let's say if you are studying in the UK, the maintenance requirements will be, if you've overstayed your leave, would have to be the £800, right, multiplied by 9 months.
Okay.
Instead of 2 months,
so 2
because
months,
you are
yeah.
now overstaying. But that is now being made a little bit difficult. I think some 2 months ago, the government even now introduced a new rule, which is now saying that if you do not have a CAS letter, or if you've not applied for a CAS letter,
Okay.
even if you have all the money in the world,
Yeah.
you should go back home and apply for leave to come in
Okay.
as a student. That changed, and it's affected so many students in the sense that there are so many colleges who are not, and I'll say this very, very clearly on the air, because I've met so many of such students who are not actually advising their students properly.
Okay.
To make an application for as a student, if you've paid, take for instance, your £3,000 or £4,000, that's just an example of a fee.
Yeah.
£4,000 college fees for the whole year. You have a start date, you also have an end date.
An end date, yeah.
Right. The college will then issue you a letter that we've accepted you. And many students with so many of these colleges are not aware, although they will be telling them that, well, it's the responsibility of the student to apply for that CAS number.
Okay.
Right, through the college, right? And so many students paid their college fees
The CAS number.
without the CAS number.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a CAS number and you don't have a CAS letter,
Yes.
giving the college the authority to take you on as a student,
Yeah.
you cannot make a tier 4 application. And what many, instead of colleges, maybe their registrars or their director of studies or whatever, instead of such people making it mandatory that the moment you actually pay your school fees,
Then you get
we
the
need to
letter.
actually
Yeah.
take it a step further, the CAS letter straight away. Because without that CAS letter, they've taken money.
Yeah, that's it.
And what some colleges are now telling their students is, well, we are sorry, I think, yes, we've taken money, but just go back home and apply for leave to enter as a student again.
Okay.
And that could be more difficult because you then need to show more. Take, for instance, if you had current leave to remain initially,
Okay, yeah, that's true.
which
Then
is
it's-
just
yeah.
the 1006, you now need to go back home and show the equivalence of 800 or whatever multiplied by 9.
9 months.
But they're making life so difficult for so many of these students. So my advice to students,
Yeah.
anybody who actually wants to apply for leave to remain, make sure that the moment you pay your fees,
Yeah.
you impress it upon that director of studies or the registrar or the person in charge of students that, look, you need to actually do this CAS thing for me as quick as
Okay.
possible. That's one. Then another area where I think they've changed with the tier 4 applications is initially whether you are attending a university
Okay.
or a college of higher education, a public college of higher education,
Yeah.
or any private college or whatever
Yeah.
for that matter, so long as you've been granted leave to remain, you'll be allowed to work for 20 hours.
Okay, yeah, because you know that students normally
Yes.
they work during the time during the holidays and so on and
Yes,
so forth.
yes, they do.
But what are the changes now?
But for now, the only students who are allowed to work for 20 hours are if you are university students.
Okay.
If you're a university student, then you'll be allowed to work for 20 hours.
Okay.
If that is if you are on a degree course or above, 20 hours. If you are going to a public college or public college of higher education
Okay.
below degree level, right?
Okay,
But
yeah.
public college,
Yes.
right? You are only allowed to work 10 hours.
Okay. 10 hours.
10 hours. And I don't know how this is going to be working because this is just crazy. These are just crazy policies, really.
Yeah.
If you don't belong to any of the two, but you are in college and you got leave to remain anyway, you are not even allowed to work at all.
At all. Wow.
You understand?
So it must be difficult for the students.
So many students right now. And again, you look at you look at what could be driving that kind of policy, because as far as I'm concerned, with all due respect, it's crazy. You do not actually say it's as if you are discriminating in between students.